Hi, guys. Back here this Wednesday, known as Hump Day, November 8th. It's hard to believe. Like I said, before we blink out, it's going to be Thanksgiving. I mean, I remember talking to you in July, and now it's Thanksgiving almost.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it, especially the Ohio State Michigan game on Thanksgiving weekend. But what I'm really looking forward to is, I'm going to be hopping on a plane and going to the Madison Square Garden tonight and watching the Spurs play the Knicks, and I've got floor seats to watch Wembanyama in action, so I'm pretty excited about that.
So on your Twitter handle, when it says Spurs fan, there's Spurs fans, and there's dedicated East Coast, West Coast to East Coast flights just to go to a Spurs game. So I got to give it to you. Now,
Yeah.
we were talking about futures in the last and the last video that we did yesterday. So, is there a futures ticket on the Spurs this year?
No, my futures ticket is on the Boston Celtics at 4-1 odds, and I'm
So
pretty
I'll
comfortable with
give you a
that.
funny story. I said to my son, I said, he's 18. I said, when you're a fan, because he got mad one year when the Ravens blew it or whatever, and he was like, I'm done with them. And I said, no, it doesn't work that way. You have to be a fan through the thick or the thin. It's like it doesn't matter if they're the worst team. It doesn't, because the Jets have some of the most amazing fans ever, and they're horrible. So, I always say part of being the fan is you got to take the good with the bad. You can't just hop on. We know that jerseys of teams like Kansas City and teams that do well win. The sales go up across the country, but to me, that's just phony. Like, if you're a fan, you're a fan. You wear your jersey of your horrible team or your great team. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I've over the years I've switched allegiance one time. I when I grew up I was a Steelers fan, and then in 1992 I switched to become a Green Bay Packer fan when Brett Favre was just getting going. So I don't mind if people switch. One of the reasons I was a Pittsburgh fan is that I actually lived in Pittsburgh, but I had moved
Right.
away to go to school, at the University of Michigan in 1984. So by 1992, I didn't live there for 8 years. So that's why I ended up switching to the Packers. But I've been a Spurs fan since I was a kid. Pittsburgh never had an NBA team, so I've been a Spurs fan since 1976,
Wow.
and yeah, it's been a good run.
I remember going to Baltimore Colts games here in Baltimore. So that's just, I'm one of the I live 5 minutes from the hospital I was born at, so it's a little different here. Baltimore is a very non-transient town. You're born here, and it's like hard to get out of here. It's not, I love the town. I have no complaints. I go to Vegas, meet clients, and they all think it's just like The Wire. They have no idea.
What was that great record store in Baltimore for
Soundgarden.
independent music?
Well,
What
so
was it called?
It's called Soundgarden.
Soundgarden.
So
Yeah.
Soundgarden started Record Store Day. They are the creators of Record Store Day. It's
Oh,
still
I didn't know
open.
that. That's great trivia.
It's still open. They had Kelsey's girlfriend there, I think, a couple weeks ago, signing autographs. So yeah, it's famous. You get all the stars every time they come in and they film in Maryland or in DC. They come run up to Soundgarden. It's in Fells Point, Baltimore.
Yeah.
I frequent there as a vinyl nut. So yeah, it's
Yeah,
but
when
yeah,
I used to live in Washington D.C., we would go up. That's where we would go. We would drive up there to Fells Point, and we'd go record shopping. And
there
back
you
when
go.
back when music was actually valuable. So,
Well, I'm looking behind me at about 2,000 records. So I would say, according to other people, they'd say I still spend way too much. I refuse to stream. I'm the last holdout, but that's a subject for another day. But let's get into it. What do we got going in football this evening?
yeah, for Wednesday night, I'm going to look at the Eastern Michigan Toledo game. The Rockets are on an 8-game win streak. They opened the season with that 2-point loss at Illinois, and it's been nothing but W's since. Eastern Michigan, on the other hand, they're coming into this game off a blowout loss. They lost 45-21 at home versus Western. And understandably, the Eagles are a huge road underdog here. They're getting 18.5 points from the Rockets. I'm going to take the points. Road teams with a win percentage of 333 or better. They're now 181 and 130 ATS versus opponents with a 750 or better win percentage. If a road team was off a loss by 17 or more points in its previous game and is now getting more than 4 points in the current game. So we've got a conference matchup here. It's a lot of points. I'm going to grab them.
So You just walked right into my next question. When you have these lopsided stats that you give out on a lot of these videos that are just like amazingly insane, this is the value of you upgrading and downgrading the plays on the all access. Because when you get some of these stats in your favor and you see like 10 and 1, 11 and 1, 1 and 11, 181 and 31, obviously that's going to determine. I'm not going to give away your whole secret, but like, what, like you didn't have any 10 units last week. And I had a couple clients that said, man, no 10 units. And why? Because you
No
spoiled them.
9 units. No,
You spoiled because you spoiled them the week before and you went 5-0 on your 10 units. So, and then you went like 2-0 on your 9 units and like
yeah.
3.
I mean, some days there are great plays, and some days there aren't.
Literally the text was no 10 units question mark.
So yeah, it's interesting because I think a lot of customers just assume that there's always great plays. You know, they'll say like, can't you find just one? Well, no, like there's none today. And that's when you're a handicapper, you have perspective, so you understand what goes into making a great play, and you understand when it's there and when it's not there. There are days where we could have 3 or 4 10-unit plays on a day,
Right.
and then there are days where we have not a 10, not a 9, not an 8. You know, I think our Kansas City Chiefs play was, you know, the top play of the day
6 unit.
yeah.
That was it. So yeah, and they tried to blow that game in the end of the game. So yeah, that was. But again, back to I don't really watch the games; it just happened to be on in the background. But again, like I said, the unit rating system is where you're going to get all the big cash, especially if you're a high roller. And when I say high roller, you're betting 1,000 a unit, 500 a unit. Remember, we're going from 1 to 10 units. So if you're a nickel player, you're betting from 500 on a 1 unit to 5,000 on a 10 unit. If you're a dime player, same thing. Last month, in the month of October, if you were betting a dime a unit, which means you had $1,000 wagers all the way up to $10,000 wagers, you made $99,000 for the month. It's not for everybody, for sure. We get it. We understand it. You can purchase his premium plays online at pickdogs.com in a non-unit rated fashion. This is a way to take it to a whole nother level. So once again, what's to close it out? What's your complimentary selection tonight?
We're going to take the Eastern Michigan Eagles plus the 18.5 against Toledo.
Eastern Michigan plus the 18.5. We'll be back with another complimentary selection tomorrow. Have a good time in New York. You'll be on my time zone next time I talk to you guys. Good day and good luck.